welcome Tommy to the Cast Patrol podcast. It's good to have you on, and we're honoured that you're actually here, and we appreciate you dedicating some time on a cold Wednesday night for us.
Thanks for having me on, boys. I've been following your podcast and enjoy listening to you. So, absolute pleasure being on the show.
That's good to hear. Look, we want to make this as enjoyable as possible. We're just going to run through a few of our segments and pretty much ask about your career, how it's gone so far and everything. So let's kick things off with how'd you get into racing, and was it always a dream of yours to be a jockey?
No, I wouldn't say it was a dream to be a jockey to start off with. I was born into it just through my family. My father was a jockey and was a trainer as well, and so we just grew up around the horses, and we from a young age we got to really be around horses from as young as I can remember, and it wasn't until there was one day, I think we were probably 4 or 5 years old. We were just leaving for school, and we took our breakfast and had it underneath a Clydesdale that my dad had as a pony, and we ate our breakfast underneath his belly, and he never moved a step. And I fell in love with a horse at that stage. Just a horse, they're so big but so kind and gentle. And then from there, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in racing. I knew I just wanted to work with horses, and then I learnt how to ride. And once I went fast, I didn't go back. I figured out you could go fast, earn money, and that was me sold.
Wow. So what age were you when you first, I guess, debuted in the jockey scene?
I had my first ride at 15.
Wow.
I was breaking in horses with my twin brother at the age of 12 years old. We'd go out to Camden Sales, and we'd go buy a horse that was unbroken and hunt it onto the track for $200-$300, and we'd break it in 2 weeks later, sell it for $3,000 or $4,000. So
wow. You're in the horse flipping market.
Yeah, exactly. So we did that while we were still going through school, and we were riding track work in the mornings and going to school during the day and working the afternoon after track work. But we kept missing roll call in year 8 and year 9, and I think probably 1 or 2 months into year 9, the principal called my father and my mother and said that we'd have to start making roll call, otherwise they're going to kick us out. So my father didn't want us missing track work in the morning, so we finished up at school 1 month into year 9 and started our career from there on.
Wow, that's a good story. I like that.
No, that's awesome, Tommy. So obviously we know how tough life of a jockey is. What does a normal day in the life of Tommy Berry look like?
So 3 or 4 mornings a week I'll ride track work. So I'll get up at 3 o'clock, get to the track by 4. Usually ride 8 or 9 horses, then come home. I'll usually lay down for about 45 minutes. Then I've usually got between 1 or 2 kilos to pull off. So I'll jump in the bath, and I can lose 2 kilos in probably an hour and a half.
Wow.
In the bath. So I sweat that out and go to the races all day, and then usually getting home at 6 o'clock, and even trial days. So on Friday I'll get up at 3, go to Warwick Farm, do about 8 or 9 gallops there, and then I think I've got 14 trials at Randwick after that. Then I'll come home, lay down for half an hour, 45 minutes, get up, go for a run, do my form for Saturday, have a sweat that night, and jump to bed. So it's
God, it never stops.
Very hectic.
I've got 4 kids as well, so it's easy.
and you're on podcasts.
It's good.
Sounds like a lot of fun, and obviously you've ridden in a lot of Group 1s in your career, Tommy. How do you prepare yourself for like a big Group 1 ride or a big Group 1 day?
I just try to keep everything normal and just go through my routine, which I just explained. Like a Friday routine's pretty normal for me. If I haven't got trials, then I'll get up in the morning, go for a run, and then do your form in the afternoon, have a sweat before, and a little bit of dinner, get to bed. I ride track work every Saturday morning. Even on Saturdays now, when the first race is at 11:20, I'll still get up at 3, ride my track work,
Wow.
come home, do a half an hour nap, lose my weight, and go to the races. It's even though it's a bit, the time's tighter on Saturdays and I don't have as much time to do it. That's just my routine, and I keep it like that. And when you get to the races, you're feeling good, and by the time you leave after the last, you catch it. But you know, if you win one of the big ones,
it's a long one.
Monday morning anyway.
Exactly. Well, you got to get your body in that rhythm and be like, oh, it's race day today. Just do your normal procedures and just go through it.
Yeah, exactly. Like any footy player, I guess. But you do, you know, the big days are very different. Once you get there, it's the room's a lot quieter. You know, there's no mucking around with the jockeys and stuff like that. We've all got our game faces on the big days, but you know, there's a lot of money to be had, especially over the spring now. So Peter Bellini's has been very good to us.
For rugby league and racing, does it feel different on race day, like the crowd atmosphere and everything on a big Group 1 day, as opposed to just a Wednesday meeting?
Yeah, it does, especially now more so than before, because we had COVID for a couple of years there, and you know, we went 9 months at a time without a person on the track, and we didn't realise how good the big days were and how good the crowds were, you know, when they were there. But I think going back to Peter Bellini's and what he's tried to do with, you know, bringing that younger generation to the races, and he's done a very good job doing that. And I get a lot of enjoyment seeing, you know, all the boys up along the fences, and, you know, the girls having a good day out, and, you know, we're dressed up. It's quite good to see. And you get towards the back end of the card and they've had a few too many to drink. Whether they're cheering you or giving you a spray. So it's great. And I think, you know, if you go back to Art Godot winning the Kosciuszko last year, and the reception he got in, that's just. I
was on that horse actually. I tipped it to the boys. I was listening to the form guy in the morning, but you said young kids around the barrier just spraying you the whole day or trying to talk to you. I don't know how good your memory is, but back in 2019, on the day of the shorts, the Group 2, you were doing a bit of walking on the track, and me and my mate Ibrahim were on the side. Tommy, can we get a photo? And then you got a photo with us, and then we said, oh, you like anything on the day? And you go, I tell you what, boys, Parada wins today. It wins at $3.20. I'm like, all right, that's it. I take Tommy's word for it.
The bank counts on it.
Yeah, and that's it. It won the race, and it was a good day after that, I tell you. So,
all age stakes that was, he won that day. I do, you know, I get a lot of people call me up to the fence, but for a photo, but. You know, I do remember you. I think you're a little bit younger, but your hairstyle.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Do you cop a lot of sprays when you're going around in the mountain yard, Tommy, or what's it like?
Yeah, well, not too much at the start of the day because everyone's your friend.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, you've upset a lot of people or made a lot of people happy. So, you know, I copped a fair few sprays last weekend, but I wasn't happy with a couple of my rides myself last weekend. So they were probably well earned. But you know, it doesn't really worry me copying abuse over the fence. I look at it as, you know, someone's had their money on you. They're trying to win. You've got beat. As long as it's a friendly spray telling me I'm useless or I'm as long as I don't overstep the line, which some people can do. But usually it's friendly banter, and if I was the one having a punt and I was backing a jockey that could beat, I'd probably give him a spray.
100%. On race day, Tommy, do you have any superstitions or pre-game rituals?
Yeah, I've got to wear the same undies every Saturday.
What colour? You got like red undies, blue undies?
And all the boys are giving me shit because there's no elastic left in the top, and there's holes around the band. So my wife's chucked them in the bin, I think 3 or 4 times, but I keep managing to get them back out. So I've got to stitch them up. They haven't got much longer left. But apart from that, it's just, as we said, same routine. I like to park on the same level, you know, when we get to the races, so I've got to get there a bit earlier. And the same routine with, you know, getting ready, weighing out, walking the track, then having a stretch, and then getting ready for the first. So it's pretty much always the same.
How long have those undies been going on for, the pre-race day tradition?
Oh, they're getting on probably 12 or 13
Oh
months.
my God.
No wonder your wife's throwing them
once
out.
a week, so it's not too bad.
Once a week.
Goodness, I was expecting 3 to 4 years. 12's blown out of the
No,
park.
they've been going around a long time. So phone back up and we'll keep him going.
Oh God! Well, look. Speaking of like race day and the big Group 1 days, is there any horses in your time that I know was your favourite horse to ride or the best ride that you've ever given?
I think Chautauqua's TJ Smith.
Which one?
His third one. His third one was incredible. And I think Darren Flindell, summed it up really well after the race. He said it was one of the best moments we've ever had at Randwick, and that was a day that Winx won, but it was probably one of the only times Winx was overshadowed a little bit for what the Grey Flash did. But he gave me a lot of great thrills on racetracks, especially in Hong Kong when he won there. That was incredible as well. But if you go to my best ride, I think I rode the offer to win the Sydney Cup not long after my brother passed away. It was quite an emotional time, and it was tough, but I showed patience on that day that I've never shown before, and my brother was a very patient rider, so I wasn't overly very patient when he was around. I was more, had him on speed, but my brother used to ride very patiently, very quiet, and ride him in the second half of the field. So to pull off a ride like that not long after he'd passed away was quite a special time.
Yeah, wow. Because you talk about Chautauqua and the TJ Smith, we were just underage to bet on it, so we just missed it. But as soon as we sort of got in, maybe allegedly we like to say. But when we sort of first got into racing, everyone always says you got to watch Chautauqua's races back, and it's just the commentary as well that just makes it flying from the back. Can you get there? Boom! It's just everything about each of those rides is just so special. And
and I think you even look at he's probably the only horse that's you watch the Seinfeld with Chautauqua in the back.
Yeah. Kramer.
The Top Chase, Mario Kart,
everything.
There's songs about Chautauqua.
Yeah, so he's probably it's good fun.
Cult hero.
What were your thoughts, Tommy, at about the 600 in that TJ Smith? Did you think you were a chance or?
Well, it's funny because I didn't know how far back I was till I got down to the 400, and then when I saw English, as far in front as she was, I knew it'd be a task. But a funny thing with him, and the reason probably why I rode him so quiet all the time, is I just had so much confidence in the horse and his ability and what he was able to do on a racetrack. So I always thought I could win on him. That day, I still thought the same. I went back and watched the replay and said, "You're a dickhead for thinking you could win."
Like the people that probably backed you as well. They go, "What are you doing from there, Tommy?"
Yeah, exactly. So I had everyone on the chair for a long time, but it was, it's just the way he gave me that confidence to ride him that way. So it was great.
Yeah, wow. Is there a sort of favourite track or least favourite track that you have in mind? Like when it comes up on the calendar, you go, don't want to race here.
Yeah, Canterbury's annoys me because you've got a draw well there, because you turn most of the way. So Canterbury, if you don't draw well, and Rose Hill as well, when you anything out of that 1,100-1,200 metre shoot, if you don't draw well, it makes it very tricky. But Randwick's everyone's favourite. It's the best racetrack in Australia. It's beautiful, big track, gives every horse their chance. Probably the best track I've ever ridden at was Tokyo in Japan.
Really?
Really like that. That was incredible, and their crowds over there, they get 110,000 people a meeting. So,
I heard they're wild over there, all the punters.
Yeah, they are. They're wild, but it's crazy. They're very respectful in the same way. When the horses are parading out the back, there might be 90,000 people watching it, but they're not allowed to talk while the horses parade out the back. So there's 90,000 people standing there, and you could hear a pin drop. So Japan's an incredible place to ride, and it's probably one of my favourite times in my career was going over and riding there a few times.
Yeah, it's definitely on our bucket list to sort of get there one day and check it out.
100%.
We hear
Can't
crazy
wait to go
things.
We'll try and get there for Derby Day if you can put it in your calendar. That's the best day of the year of it. It's massive.
Try and tear it up.
Put the annual leave in now. So we know how competitive the jockey room can be, Tommy. Who is the best jockey you've ridden against?
I think the best jockey I've ridden against, I think worldwide would be Ryan Moore. I rode a lot against him in Japan, a little bit against him in Hong Kong, and the things he does on a racetrack's incredible. But it's even hard to split him, James McDonald, and Hugh Bowman apart. They're all different riders in their own right. When I first started riding, I got to ride a little bit against Darren Beadman, not a lot, but he's the best I've ever seen. And you talk to someone like James McDonald, and even James is blown away about what Darren was able to achieve and what he was able to do on a racetrack. It was I remember watching rides of him when I was a kid, and you watched him win, and you'd have to replay it 2 or 3 times just to see how he did it. He was a magician, that's for sure.
Another one slightly more on the lighter side. Which jockey is the biggest pest?
There's a few. Timmy Clifford and he can be a little bit of a pest on race day, ask a lot of questions.
Clippo.
And then Regan Bayless, if he's up and about and he's had a good day, he's quite in your face. But there's all the boys are different. It depends if you've had a good or a bad day. If you've had a good day, anyone can be a pest. But if you had a bad day, it's great.
Does it ever get a bit, confrontational? Like someone's obviously had a good day or even butchered a ride, and then someone's celebrating, someone's down in the dumps. How do you sort of manage that in the locker room?
Yeah, well, it takes a while. I guess it just comes with the territory and growing up in racing. You've got to learn to handle your lows and being able to celebrate your peers' highs, because especially when it comes to big races, sometimes it doesn't come around all the time, and and frustrations do boil over. Like I guess it's the only sport where not like a footy team, you don't go in the change rooms with the team you're playing against, where I'm going out into a race competing against 14 other guys, and we're all trying to win, and then you're going to go share a jockey room with them, and you're the best mate. So sometimes if something happens in a race, you're not happy about it, you might express your what was annoying you out there when you come back in, and that can get a bit confrontational.
I just got a side one. Who is your best mate in the jockey room? Do you have one?
Best mate, they've got a lot of good mates in there. Sam Clipperton's I'm pretty close with Sam. Andrew Atkins,
yep.
Brock Ryan, really close with him, and but then some of the older jockeys are really good friends with, but you don't get to hang out with as often as you'd like Huey and Kieran and guys like that, because they've got families as well. But very close with James McDonald. He's a good mate. So yeah, it's a good tight sort of jockey's room. And Bossy, who I don't get to see much anymore because he's out travelling the world and doing everywhere. But I was very close with Bossy as well.
Yeah, awesome. So you've obviously had plenty of wins in your career, Tommy. How do you celebrate a successful day in the saddle or winning a big Group 1?
Plenty of vodka.
Yeah.
Usually, for Everest night or something like that, or one of the big nights, win, lose or draw, we like to get out and have a good time. We usually book a booth or two at Ivy at the rooftop. Always good fun, but I usually like to just some nights we'll just go out with my wife and the kids and have a good feed and have a few drinks at home after. But once every sort of 6 weeks, you like to get out with a few of the boys, and we'll get mum to look after the kids and head into the city and stay in there. But there's always plenty of fun to be had around there, that's for sure.
Wow, interesting, because you probably celebrate the same way we do when we back a few winners. Head out to the city and celebrate.
When there's alcohol involved, I don't think it matters where you are.
Exactly,
100%.
Especially when you're starting at 11 a.m. for us. It's a long day.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. I don't know if you can reveal, but has this trainer ever sprayed you, like, that you can remember, and it always sticks with you, I guess?
Yeah, I've had plenty of sprays over the years. Not so much now I'm a little bit older, but when I was younger, Clary Connors, he didn't even spray me, he just told me to go.
Got Simbin.
To just keep going. Hawksy one day, I'd won. What was it? I won the Guineas on inference, going back 4 or 5 years ago, and then got beat on Chautauqua in the all-age stakes. I think it might have been the same day. And I rode another winner or another 2 winners for John. And so I remember coming home, we won a Group 1. It was on a colt, so he's very, he was worth, maybe $1 million, and now he's worth 10 million. Yeah. So he'll be happy. I think that for the first 30 minutes on the way home, he just sprayed me about Chautauqua and then I said, "Oh, but what about inference?" And he goes, "Who gives a fuck about them? I don't care." And then we didn't pick it for the rest of the night. So
was there anything you could have done differently on that ride with Chautauqua? Was it your fault?
I don't think so. We still haven't agreed on that one, but that's way in the past now. But John's always been good at giving sprays, but he's very good at praising you when you do something right. But, he's a really good, probably one of my biggest mentors.
Well, that's good to hear.
I love loading up on like a short price fave. So I just want to know, do you get more nervous when you're riding a short price fave, or does it not affect you at all?
No, it used to when I was a bit younger, but I think that just comes with, I guess, handling that sort of pressure. And the way I look at it now is you get paid to do a job, and if you get put on a short price favourite, obviously they think you can do it. Usually when you're on a short price favourite, you're on the best horse in the race.
Yep.
So it makes things a little bit easier. So no, I think I'd rather be on a short price favourite than something out of the market. And I love pressure now. It's something I enjoy, and being on a short price favourite in Group 1 is probably as good a feeling as you'll get. So if you talk to a few of the younger boys, they might say the opposite, but I've been around. I'm starting to feel my age now. I've been around a while, so I'm definitely used to it.
Yeah, 100%. The more wins, the merrier. And a win's a win, I guess. So it doesn't matter what the horse is paying.
The prize at the moment. So
exactly. So now we'll take you on. I just want to first say your career's been amazing so far, and there's a long way to go. Hopefully, a lot more winners. But now we'll hop into one of our segments, This or That. So the way it works is we'll give you 2 scenarios, and you just got to pick which side you're on. So this or that.
Yep.
So the first one I got for you is being caught 3 wide or being 3 back the fence.
3 back the fence.
For sure. 3 wide. 3 wide's tough. Why?
Well, because 3 back the fence, you got a lot more work to do, and you need a lot more luck, and it's just gives me a bigger thrill. Where 3 wide, even if it's with a bit of cover, it's you don't have to worry about getting out or anything like that. So it's it's a bit trickier, and I like a bit of work to do.
Perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Do you prefer sprint races or staying races?
Staying races, and reason being is because, once again, there's a lot more thought that goes into a staying race. Getting a horse into a good rhythm, getting their breathing right, getting them to relax, pressing the button at the right time. Whereas sprint race, it's sort of over and done with pretty quick. And I think anyone can ride a sprint race. I think it takes a really good jockey to ride a good staying race. Does
the sprint races just go like that? Just when you're on the horse, by the time you know it's already over, you're on the straight?
40 seconds.
On the fast one it does, but there's plenty of slow ones I've ridden in the past. It feels like you're riding in a staying race.
Awesome. Next one, Tommy. Winning the Melbourne Cup or winning the Everest?
This is one that I've been asked quite a lot over the last 12 months. Winning the Melbourne Cup, and the reason I say that is only because that's a race I dreamed of winning since the day I started, since I was a little kid, and I've dreamt about it, every year since. It's very lucrative, obviously, winning the Everest, and but to go down in history as a Melbourne Cup winning jockey will be something that probably be my biggest achievement as a jockey, not winning an Everest.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's so much history in the cup as well. It's just to cement your name on the cup. That's what you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and for the next one, if you had to choose one, Chautauqua or Designs on Rome?
Well, that's a tough one as well. Prize money's bigger in Hong Kong, so probably Designs on Rome, but I'd have to say, just through what Chautauqua was able to do, I'd have to stick with him. And he's a household name, and for my very good friends, the Hawkses as well. So I'll go with him, but only just Designs. He was good. He was awesome.
We've seen you at the pub on a few Instagram stories with the Raiders players, Tommy. So I got a little pub one. So this or that, would you rather a steak or a palmy at the pub?
Oh, palmy every day of the week. Palmy's probably one of my best meals. That's my go-to after a big week.
You can't go wrong, eh?
Every time you're out with them boys, they've always got these big juicy steak that they finish.
Well, they need their protein and fill up after a big game. We know you're a massive Raiders fan as well, so what are your thoughts on their season so far? They're just in 9th place, just almost there.
I'll give it to a few of them on the weekend. I think they've got to pick up their game, but it's been a frustrating year. Injuries have played a part of it, but I think a lot of the boys have been a little bit inconsistent the way they played as well. But they're a really good side, and there's just a really good feel around the club, and they're like a really big family, and I think Ricky's done a really good job with them. But they've just had some good players out during the year, and you lose Jack White to Origin every year as well. He had COVID. So look, I don't think they've had a disappointing year, but the way the year's gone, there's a few of the teams that usually don't make the top 8 that have really stepped up this year as well, like the Broncos. So it's probably been a bit more, competitive, the latter. But they've got to win their next 3 games, but they've obviously got to rely on a few other guys getting beat as well to make it in. But I think if they make it into the finals, they seem to play a lot better when they're under more pressure. So yeah, they've been definitely hard to watch at times this year, but anyway, it's I'm a Raider and I love them win, lose or draw.
Exactly. Like you talk about like the injuries as well. Like Jared Croker, your captain, going down midway through the season with a shoulder injury.
I think with Jared as well, like you lose your captain, it's a big part of the spine, and he's been around a very long time. And when you talk about big moments, and big moments is what wins footy games and consistency. But he's one of them guys that can control them big moments. He can when the boys are getting a little bit out of line or they're getting a bit above themselves, he can tell them to relax. A bit like Cooper Cronk used to always seem like, settle down, boys, settle down. Let's, so that old head in a young team is always good. But he just got an operation done on his shoulder a few weeks ago. He's still in a sling at the moment, but he was picking up the schooners all right. So he must be quite all right.
Yeah, we see the interactions between you two on Twitter. Have you guys been friends for a long time? Or has that sort of just come about when he's sort of played for the Raiders and you've been a jockey sort of thing?
Yeah, probably, I'd have to say probably 7 years now. We've got to know each other. He enjoyed his racing. I enjoyed my football. I was a doggy supporter. Then
Jump ship.
Yeah, turncoat Tommy.
My father wasn't happy about it. My sister-in-law was dating Luke Bateman at the time, and so I, obviously being good mates with him over a couple of years, I got to know Jared firstly. That was his best mate, and he just loved the racing, and we got on like a house on fire. And then through Jared, got to know a lot of the boys and getting to the games. And every time I'm in Canberra, my wife's from Canberra. So we go down there every sort of second weekend. So I get to catch up with a lot of them all. But like I said, they're just a big family. They're a good bunch of guys that they've got their head on right, and they enjoy having a good time. So they're easy to get along with.
Yeah, they seem like a bit of a good bunch and a bit of wild sometimes. But that's all stays at the pub in Canberra.
Yeah, exactly right.
And the question we all want to know is, who's your favourite Raiders player of all time?
Favourite Raiders player of all time? That's hard to say. I've got to say Jared, only because
he's probably listening. Well, I hope he is.
Yeah, exactly. I love Jared, obviously, and I love what he's done for the club. And, and Mau Meninga, obviously, watching him play, I was only a young kid, but you watch the replays of old matches, he was incredible. And same with Ricky Stewart and Laurie Daly. But some of the players playing now, Hudson Young, I really enjoy watching him play.
He's a great player.
He picks up the team, and is obviously Jack Whiten's incredible to watch. Elliot Whitehead's that tough player that just never gives up, and there's so many personalities in that squad. But there's I think we've got a few good years ahead with what they've bought.
Yeah, that's good, because our favourite Raiders player, we have an ongoing joke between all three of us. It's Matt Tomoko. We always back him for first try scorer. And then a few weeks ago, he scored first try scorer. We're like, we didn't back him. The one time. So
he's ultra consistent, that's for sure.
Exactly.
He's a bit of a beast. But we had Hudson Young first try scorer last game, which paid off. So we're going to ask you, Tommy, who's your first try scorer for this week against Knights?
This week against the Knights, I'm going to say Jack Whiten, because I think he'll attack the line. Jack's really good when he carries the ball and takes on the line. Yeah. But he's got a lot of jobs in the side, and kicking's one, and setting up tries. But I reckon he might take on the line a little bit more this week.
Bit of a show and go and straight over. We'll be on that, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll tip that for sure. Just before we let you go, Tommy, a lot of our following base are punters. Is there one you can steer them into to follow with the upcoming Spring Carnival, or one to follow this weekend potentially?
This weekend, I think Mwanga, he'll really prove himself first up. Jemay will run really well as well, but she probably needs a little bit further. But the horse that I think's improved a lot in her time off, and she's come back really good. We'll see her trial on Friday. She's Extreme. So it's very hard for the fillies to come back after what they've done at 2, and not many of them do. But I've just got a feeling off her track work and what she's shown me at home that she's just exciting me. So I could be wrong, but she's a filly that I think she'll be very competitive in a Golden Rose. But the Flight Stakes a week later is probably, if there's an early market out for that, I'll jump on it for that very early.
I'll take that. I'll
Legend.
note that down for sure. Thanks, Tommy.
We might message you after the trial and you can give us a little update, see how she's going.
Anytime.
We'll send you the invoice after the race if it doesn't get up.
I did want to ask you something, Tommy. Winx's last race, you were on Kluger. Did you think you were going to beat her in her last race? When you were coming up the rail?
I made the mistake of thinking I could. Yeah. I never forget that race. I'll go down as one of the biggest, thrills of my life. I won on Winx, and I'd ridden her one other time, very early on in her career, and it hurt every time seeing her beat me. But obviously, it gave me a lot of enjoyment seeing what she did for the racing public and what she was able to achieve. But if you go back and watch that replay and watch it close, especially the Stewart division, from probably the 1,000 metres to the 600, there was probably 3 or 4 occasions where she was outside me in the run, and I just looked over and I just watched her, and it was like it all happened in slow motion, and just watched the way she breathed and the way she moved, and I was just in awe of Winx just galloping alongside me, and then next minute Huey took off around the bend. And I almost forgot about making my run on Kluger, and I made my run up the inside, and I let down so well, and I sort of went to challenge her, and I thought, like, far out, I'm going to be in the finish round. What she does, and she just she put a margin on us, and she was just incredible.
Not sure how popular you would have been if you rolled Winx on her last race.
Paying $1.05.
Well, I was about to say, we were there, and I made it my mission on that day that whatever bankroll I had, it's just going to go on Winx, so I get the ticket and sort of memorabilia. And I just remember watching, my heart stopped.
I think everyone thought Winx was going to get rolled.
I'm like, who is this on the inside? It's Kluger. Who's
$20
Kluger?
is paying.
I've never seen the Japanese side of it. Race as well. It was because he ran in the Doncaster the week before, and I begged him to back him up and run him against Winx in the Queen Elizabeth, and they had him on a flight booked to go home, and they said, but we're not going to win. I said, yeah, but you're running second to Winx if you don't win.
On the last start as well.
Yeah.
Good
prize money.
Queen Elizabeth's worth so much. So anyway, they stuck around, and the owners who Carrot Farm, one of the biggest owners in the world, said it was one of the best days they've ever had on a racetrack. So, and that's coming from one of the biggest the biggest jurisdiction in the world in Japan. So I think that shows what she did for racing.
Well, I guess that's sort of the best result then, second to Winx, and you didn't tear apart the nation's hearts on the last race.
I ran second to Black Caviar, I think 2 or 3 times as well. I've got to find a champion in my own.
Mwanga, maybe.
Yeah, Chautauqua. That's enough. Exactly. All right, well, I think that's good. We appreciate you making the time for us and joining us on this podcast. And you're our first guest as well, Tommy.
The inaugural guest.
So you're down in the history books as the first guest on the Cast Patrol.
No, well, I'm sure there'll be plenty more. He's a familiar with yourself as well, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you. So look forward to he's having me on very soon if you didn't get sick of this one.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get Jack White in first trial, you'll be on next week.
Exactly. Well, that's Tommy.
All right.
We'll catch you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Nice to meet you, Tommy.
Thanks,
See you
Tommy.
later.